one of the most technical and well-developed characters in the First Descendant, unlike the other characters that are brain dead simple to follow. But that means her kit is not the easiest to understand, and after using her for most of the beta, I decided to make a full guide explaining her mechanics and how to develop your own playstyle of using her. Her passive ability is called Death Sensor, where killing an enemy makes a red orb that heals Gley for 5% of her total HP, while giving her 1 power of life, which she can have up to 10 of them. She doesn't have any MP or shield, so managing her HP and power of life is the secret to unlocking her full potential. The 4% damage increase is cute, but I don't really see the point in it or the natural HP increase. Please buff. Her first skill is called Berserk, in which long distance weapon attack is increased by 25% and penetration by 45%. It takes 15% of her HP to activate and reduces HP recovery by 60%. But what counts as a long distance weapon? Well, I tested out with a bunch of different weapons, berserk on and berserk off, to try and get a pretty good indication on how much of the damage for each is scaled, as well as which weapons count as long distance. For those interested, there's a video in the description of me testing every weapon with berserk on and off, but from what I can tell, every gun counts except for your melee, probably making this a typo. But when crit is factored in, the damage calculated becomes very inconsistent, and I hope they fix this when the main game comes out. Her next ability is called Life Extraction and heals Gley for 20% of every enemy hit and costs 4 power of life to cast. In normal mode, it adds an extra 2% damage reduction for 11 seconds per enemy hit, which again I don't really see the point compared to all the other Descendants' damage reduction or shielding, but in Berserk mode it does close to double the damage of normal stance, as well as the lower her HP is, the more damage multiplier she gets when she casts her ability. The next ability is called Requiem, and in normal mode heals her over time for 6 seconds, while in Berserk mode doesn't spend any ammunition while within the rift for 5 seconds. Both modes are considered the bread and butter of Gley for what makes her work and what makes her so versatile as a Descendant. Her next ability is called
Subscribe! Just do it.
Okay, I'm a small content creator and YouTube ain't paying me anything until I reach a certain goal, so it would mean so much to me if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video if you found it helpful, so I can reach my goal and start making monies. Her ultimate ability is called Nosferatu and consumes 3 power of life and 15% of her max HP to activate. In normal mode, it stuns enemies for 3.5 seconds, and in Berserk mode, does insane damage with a more multiplier the lower her current HP is. The number of bullets depends on how many powers of life she had when activated, and her fire rate is dependent on the current equipped gun when activated. So now that we understand her abilities, we can now talk about how to play Gley. Currently, she is one of the most versatile kits in First Descendant and can play however you like with most freedom. You can use her Life Extract as a ad cleared AoE in Berserk mode to clear most ads in defense missions, or you could use it as a get out of no HP card to heal yourself. Her Requiem is a gauge that moderates how much damage she does to bosses, but also keeps her at full HP majority of the time, almost making her immortal. But the real reason most people play Gley is for one reason and one reason only: her Nosferatu. You only get limited bullets when you activate it, but when you pair it with Requiem, you get unlimited bullets for a short duration, meaning unlimited ultimates. When you use a submachine gun with full fire rate mod, you can melt the boss with no time at all with full damage and full burst. Some recommend getting your HP as low as possible to output the most damage, but I prefer keeping it close to full so I can use Requiem again to get my HP back, and then Requiem in Berserk mode again to deal more damage. One of the main secrets to mastering Gley is remembering you don't have to be in Berserk mode all the time. Gley gets a 60% healing reduction in this mode, meaning held items and abilities do less healing. Turning it off to pick up these healing items or picking up Power of Life orbs for that 5% HP or life extract to get yourself into the good numbers is important, and even though it clearly needs a buff, the damage reduction in normal mode does help. I often see people getting their HP as low as possible to deal the most damage they can, only for the boss to turn their direction and down them simply because they were being too greedy. The others who don't get down end up running around majority of the match, often looking for healing items or to not die. Therefore, managing your HP and abilities is crucial even if it sacrifices damage. Having a Jaber does help healing her so she can constantly damage the boss without fear of death or losing HP, making them the ideal duo. However, it is important to remember your requiem doesn't heal anyone but you, which is important to remember. My thoughts on Gley is, out of all the Descendants whose abilities are simple cookie cut out of all the popular games out there, I find Gley to be the one with the most freedom and playstyle in terms of skill, damage, and playability. If you want to switch your brain off and just go in berserk mode and shoot everything, or if you decide to become technical and use your abilities, or just simply requiem nosferatu, the choice is yours. However, she definitely needs a buff to her passive, maybe if they made it where the lower her health is, the more defense she receives, up to 40 to 60% at 15 HP remaining, to prevent her from getting burst down by mobs or bosses when she's in a dire state, would be helpful. However, I would not recommend an increase to her passive healing the lower she is, because that would make her a bit too broken. For the runes, prioritizing her HP is priority, with defense being secondary. Depending on your playstyle, you can either spec into skill attack for more burst, duration for longer requiem duration, skill cooldown reduction for faster requiem casting. The best thing about Gley is that she doesn't have any MP or shields, so mods that sacrifice those to give a benefit to HP or defense or skill are considered a benefit. Except for the last joke rune. That one requires shields to actually work. You can also use elemental immunity mods, often dropped from void boss missions, to help her survivability, or MP conversion, common gauge, to increase the amount of power of life orbs she can hold. As your fire rate of Nosferatu is linked to the gun you are currently using, fire rate runes would be beneficial on a submachine gun or machine gun. However, I have no information how crit rate guns affect her ultimate. That needs a bit of a fix to know when you are hitting your crit numbers, cause when I was playing the game it didn't show that much, but my current SMG gun has 112% crit rate in the footage shown. PS to anyone who thinks that Gley is a bit too overpowered, you clearly haven't seen what Blair or Bunny can do. The footage speaks for itself. And you don't want to know what Blair can do. You just don't. I hope this video helped you understand Gley a bit more and decide if she is someone that you want to use. Keep an eye out for a pinned comment when the game goes live for changes to her kit, and like the video if you found this helpful, and subscribe to help me make more videos on the First Descendant.